I'm here to speak on behalf of kindergarten teachers across PPS who are struggling to ensure the safety of their students and the quality of their learning environments. I'm also here to give a voice to students across our district, both in general and special education, who are struggling to learn in school environments that are not equipped to meet their needs. I'm a gen ed teacher, but this was the first time in 10 years that it was necessary for me to learn how to safely restrain a student should he or she become a danger to themselves or others, a situation I've experienced firsthand on a number of occasions. This is training that was traditionally reserved for educators working in our district's most restrictive environments, but has now become so commonplace that trainings are often full. Educators across this district have been pleading for help for months on behalf of their students with little or no result. They continue to work in unsafe conditions where they regularly are battered by students who are inappropriately placed or who are not receiving sufficient supports. Our students throw classroom materials, toss chairs, throw trash cans, and flip tables. It's not only the safety of educators that is of concern, however, but of our students as well, of course. Peers in kinder classrooms are routinely screamed at, spit on, scratched, shoved, kicked, and punched by their classmates. Scissors are being used in our classrooms as weapons and brought out only under strict supervision rather than being made accessible as a tool for creativity and fine motor development. Pencils are used as weapons that students use to stab one another rather than as tools for writing and drawing. The students that I'm describing are not having their social, emotional, mental health, or academic needs adequately addressed. Many of them are demonstrating little to no growth, academic or otherwise, in their general education placements. And as an educator, it's heartbreaking to see the expectations for our students lowered because even simple requests lead to severe blowouts that myself and my colleagues are not capable or prepared to respond to. A number of students have run from our buildings, and yet we are advised not to put our hands on children. This creates a lose-lose situation for educators whose primary objective is to ensure safety. It feels like we're putting our students and ourselves in jeopardy, regardless of how we respond. In the situations that I've described, these are not just a handful of isolated incidents, but rather a growing trend in kindergarten classrooms across PPS. Schools don't know how to operate within the new special education framework because it was not rolled out properly, and no one at school sites seems to understand the process to obtain necessary student supports. The messages we're hearing are keep the students in your room and use the people you have in your building. But in many cases, the building teams do not have the capacity to provide the necessary accommodations and supports as outlined in individual student plans. Learning center teachers are stretched too thin by large caseloads with high numbers of students with severe needs. School staff of every stripe are regularly pulled from their work to respond to students in crisis, diminishing the overall health and vitality and effectiveness of the school. In order for a redesign of our SPED program to be successful, school staff must be provided with necessary training and clear processes for supporting all students. Educator voice and experience must be at the forefront of that work. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I am a special education teacher at Pioneer Special Program. A placement at Pioneer is considered a restrictive placement because we do not serve typically developing students and we are not a neighborhood school. We serve students on IEPs or individual education plans who have behaviors severe enough to impede their own progress or the progress of others in a neighborhood school setting. We also serve as a temporary placement for students who need to be stabilized or have their placement evaluated. Since the district got rid of the option of behavior classrooms for students with special education services, there are more students coming into us than we have the capacity to teach. In the past, we would receive students throughout the year, and students who had met their safety goals at Pioneer would move back to neighborhood schools throughout the year as well, keeping some sort of balance. This year, we received so many students at once that we quickly reached capacity, and now we hear that there are many other students who need our services, but we don't have room for them. This also means that we're building classes with a group of students who may be new to school, if they're in kindergarten, or have many, many unsafe behaviors that need to be smoothed out before we have a positive classroom environment to bring other students into. This can be difficult with a lot of students at once. When we have a placement meeting for our evaluation and stabilization students to determine whether they should stay at Pioneer as their permanent placement, we are being told there is nowhere else for them to go except general education. So of course they end up staying at Pioneer because they need services. They need individualized support and the structure a small classroom can provide. These are the students that would have gone to behavior rooms in the past, and when they stay with us, we don't have the capacity to take on other, more needy students who are waiting for services. The behavior coaches at Pioneer also provide the nonviolent crisis intervention training, which is crucial when dealing with students with unsafe behaviors. All trainings have been at capacity, and yet there are many teachers in general education who haven't been able to get into a training despite the fact that they have students with unsafe behaviors in their classrooms engaging in those behaviors. As special educators, we have a lot of knowledge about the students we teach and about best practices for serving them safely in the least restrictive environment possible. We must have a decisive voice in the structuring or restructuring of placements and programs that serve our students. Thank you.
Thank you very